Welcome to Epic Fail number 114. Before we start the show, we just wanted to give a huge thank you and shout out to our Patreon supporters.
Welcome to Epic Fail number 114.
There's some
Before
echo.
we start the show, we just wanted to give...
Sorry about that. Epic Fail, Craig, Deliberate Fails, Joseph, Mickey, Cuddles, and Flashgoth. Also to our subscribers on Twitch, Draven, myself, and Jamie Joy. Thank you very much for letting us fail.
Warning, this show may contain mature language and is not suitable for small children, pets, or blood elves.
You're now listening to the Epic Fail podcast.
Greetings! Welcome to Epic Fail number 114. And you'd think by now I'd get used to saying the word 100 after I say our name. I don't think that's ever going to happen, though. I am Draven Dresden! With me, as always, co-conductors of the Fail Train. Coming up first, from the land of, holy crap, this is about arena runs. F my life, I hate my freebie runs. Scarlett, how are you doing this week?
I'm good. I'm not good at Arena. I'm really bad at Arena and Hearthstone. Like, really bad. But guess what? Played some Hearthstone.
Chicken butt.
No. Well, there was a lot of chicken. So
Did you start playing PUBG?
No. Totally off topic, but on topic because it's awesome. I've started listening to Critical Role on YouTube, which is freaking amazing.
You listen to it on YouTube? I'm confused.
Well, I watch it.
Oh, okay, all right.
Do you know what Critical Role is?
Heard of.
That is the D&D campaign for Geek and Sundry, correct?
Yes. So Matt Mercer, who is the voice of McCree, leads it. There is 6 people. Currently, I started in the middle because they're on like 105 episodes. So I started on episode 49. I don't remember names, but the girl who's the voice of Jaina is in there, and the guy who's the voice of Illidan is there, and a whole bunch of other people, and it is freaking cool. And basically this one guy has a magical house that the only food it knows how to make is chicken, so there's a lot of chicken. Anyways, that's where the chicken comment came from. But I digress. I did a lot of leveling this week. I got my Paladin to 110. I got my Warrior to 110 today. My, what's it called? Priest is 103 or something like that. And, yeah. A lot of leveling. I played some Hearthstone. There's a kitty. Say hi, kitty. I played some... Sorry, not some Hearthstone. I did play that. I played some Overwatch, too. It's not a very good time to play competitive. There's a lot of silly people. But anyways, that's been my week.
Well, to quote Ace Ventura, a.k.a. Jim Carrey, alrighty then. Theory, I hear you had an interesting week this week. What have you been up to, buddy?
So let's just say that our show last week, we apparently failed so hard that between the hours of 4 a.m. and 11 a.m. on Saturday, my computer completely died. And when I say completely, I'll give you a little bit more backstory on this. I was about to do a major presentation at work in which I was going to be bringing my computer with me to work as part of that presentation in order to show off some gaming stuff. And the issue is that almost everything I needed for work was on the hard drive on that computer.
Dear.
So when I woke up at about 11 a.m. on Saturday, I went into my computer and I noticed that a few of the programs that I use were not there. Instead, it just had like a blank icon, and I went to click on it and said, "Hey, this drive is missing." What? So I'm freaking out. I'm thinking, okay, well, the hard drive died. It happens every once in a while. I'll go get a new hard drive. No big deal. So I went and got a new hard drive and put the new hard drive in. Seemed like everything was going to be fine. Started loading some stuff in. It was going to take like an hour get everything on the hard drive, and then I was going to kind of start over at square one with my work project stuff. Went to the grocery store to pick up some snacks and stuff for that project that I was going to be doing. And when I got back, I shut the computer down to redo some wiring and a fan that I also bought to put in, and it wouldn't start back up. So I ended up getting a new hard drive, some fans, some wiring stuff, having to order a new actual power supply and a new motherboard. So yeah, and I was computerless for about 4 days until I got everything back, and not completely computerless. I had my MacBook, but I don't really game like WoW or Overwatch or anything else on the MacBook. It's really more for just work stuff and communication. But that sucked. Other than that, because I did miss a couple of the raids. I missed the chickens run this week because of that. I was actually putting the computer back together while they were running. But I did go with CTM on Thursday. We killed Heroic KJ again after numerous wipes, most of which were not my fault. I claim a couple of them. And then we did some mythic pulls on Goroth, which they have killed once. They've actually killed, I want to say, 2 of the bosses already in mythic. We did not, however, kill it. I spent most of the night, as we said it last week, being super butt-puckered because I was trying not to die, and I think I did pretty well, but everyone else was having issues kind of spread along the entire team, so we didn't quite get it down. However, I did make one pretty big WoW decision, and that is that I am no longer going to be focusing on trying to push my paladin for this expansion because the RNG of getting hit with no SOTR is just too much. I don't know if any of you listened to Final Boss, but he had an episode a few weeks back with Protection Paladins, and they were talking about why people don't really play them in a Highland raiding situation very much anymore. And the funny thing is that Baze, one of his main tanks, is a Protection Paladin, and he was talking about how pretty much, everything's gone fine, and then all of a sudden it's just splat dead, which is the same thing that I'd been experiencing. Which is basically if you don't have SOTR up, which you can't keep up 100% of the time, the boss might just melee you for 4 or 5 million. And we only have about 6 million life without buffs, so because of that, it's not a fun way to tank. So I am switching to Monk. My Monk is almost ready to go in Mythics. I just got a few more item levels to get, and it'll be ready to go. But I heard you also had an interesting week this week, Draven. Is that right?
Just a little bit. Before I get into that, I'll go through what I did in game this week. I now have 10 of the class mounts. 10 classes have mounts. I've got all 4 of the paladin ones. Hunter, I've got a couple I got to grab still, colors, rogue, and all that. Basically, the ones I don't have to have all concordance for the different ones, I've got them. Priest and I'll be getting that either tonight or tomorrow. And Monk. And I'm really far behind that one because you got to finish the class hall to do it. And I'm not very far.
You don't have to finish.
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
my monk has not finished the class hall. I don't know if the monk has to, but some of the classes you had to finish the class hall to get the quests for Legion Fall to do that. So I've gone through all of them. Priest, whatever their title is, High Priest, I guess. Is that Monk is the only one I haven't finished the class hall for. So I'm getting there, but I'm almost done. But last night was apparently legendary night for me, or legendary night, I'm sorry. My paladin got one. My mage
got one. My priest got one. My warlock got one. My my Death Knight got one. I got like 7 last night.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And then I was like, I'd been up for a couple days. I had a rough week, which is one of the reasons why I've been busy this week. And yeah, so it was a fun night. I didn't do all my. I was gonna go through all of do my dailies on all of them because I don't normally do that, but it happens. Part 1 of why I've been busy, and this is why I was up for a couple days. What has 2 thumbs, 4 wheels, a ton and a half of car, but no brakes?
Your car?
I have 2 thumbs and a car, but no brakes in that car because apparently I blew my brake line while in use in town. I made a lot of emergency right turns because it was that or straight through a red light or stop sign or into another vehicle. So I made a lot of emergency right turns. I was like,
Why didn't
all that fun
you
stuff.
use the e-brake? Emergency brake.
Because I didn't think about it.
That's kind of what it's for. That and parking on a
Yeah,
hill.
I've never, in all honesty, in all the times I've been driving, I've never had to use it, whether it's this car or another. So I never even thought about it. So that was fun. But once I got stopped, the parking brake worked just fine. It was just, hitting the pedal just wasn't doing anything. So that was fun. But the main reason I was busy this week, Comic-Con happened, and with it, some movie trailers, such as Justice League, Walking Dead, Stranger Things 2, Avengers, which also got leaked for about 8 hours before they found all the copies that I was aware of. But a movie I've been looking forward to and dreading it at the same time, because I was like, there's no way they can do this right. And then I saw the trailer. I was like, they're going to do it right. And I got super hyped, and I'm really nervous about that now. Ready Player One. And this is not Blizzard, so I apologize. But I will not lie and say I've watched that trailer more times than I'm going to admit. Probably in the triple digits by now. Because the book is about finding an Easter egg to win a contest. And they already did this back when the book came out. So I'm presuming the movie is going to do the same thing. And I found like 45 references, Easter egg type things, and I'm part of now 2 Discord servers on basically on the hunt. So that's where a lot of my time has been. Like even when I'm gaming, I have these things open and I'm like typing in there like, oh, is this? And I'm going tabbing out and searching, and I'm AFKing in game and sometimes AFKing out of game. That kind of thing. So that's what I've been doing, is hoping that there's this contest that is not yet confirmed. We should have, hopefully we're hoping we have confirmation by tomorrow, but still.
But now you've just shared all of that information. That there's discords about this.
There's discords about everything. So good luck. I mean, you could probably, you're a friend of mine. But I found, whenever I went through the trailers, I missed 2 things out of the list of what's known. And of those 2 things, they said you cannot do it without a frame-by-frame analysis. And I don't have a frame-by-frame. I have YouTube and pause. So
That might work.
I missed National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Apparently the car is in that. And apparently the 80s Michael Keaton Batmobile is in there also, which also requires a frame-by-frame. So everything else I've apparently found in there. But yeah, there's websites, all that fun stuff. I'm looking forward to it. This is an actual ARG that I can keep up with because I got in early. So I'm having fun with that. And I'm kind of like, I want to check the server. Did they find anything else? But that's been my...
Are you checking it now?
I want to, but I'm being good.
So, Draven is currently looking for a job We need to get Draven a job so that he doesn't spend hours looking frame by frame on a movie preview. I'm just saying.
I could win a contest and it could have a lot of money, and
Damn.
I'm doing other things too, but a lot of my attention, I will freely admit, is going into that, and I'm like, this is what happens when I get excited about something. My brain just goes loop, right on that one topic or subject.
See, I don't think that movie is going to be very interesting. I think it's dumb. No offense.
You are allowed your opinion. I'm not going to say you're not. You like Hearthstone. I'm kind of on it anymore.
So one of the things you said was about that Justice League preview, and I actually watched that, and I thought it was actually pretty good, given the fact that I'm not a DC fan at all, really. I'm a Marvel fan when it comes to movies and comic books. However, I heard Wonder Woman was fantastic by pretty much everyone who saw it. I still haven't seen it yet, and I have not really liked any of the recent or all of the DC movies, so I was very, very pleasantly surprised at how good that actually looked. So I'm kind of surprised you weren't psyched up about it.
So, since we're going to go into this real quick, I've watched a lot of DC movies, like the official ones. I'm not counting Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and all that. I'm counting everything after those. Even Dark Knight Rises, which I thought was awful also. Everything after those were the DC movies. They've all pretty much been, with the exception of Wonder Woman, from what I've heard. I have not watched it yet, just because of all the other ones have been, So when I look at these movies, I'm like, no, I don't want to see Justice League yet. They have not put out a good movie outside of possibly Wonder Woman, which, from what I hear, is great. That gives me a reason to think they deserve to have a Justice League movie. Whereas with Marvel, Iron Man was good. Thor was decent. I mean, it was Thor. I really don't care. All these other ones, even the Hulk, were okay. They didn't put out a movie that was just kind of like, that was garbage.
Well, Captain America, even though I really didn't like the first one, the other two were fantastic, but it was really because they weren't just Captain America. There was a lot else going on. Yeah. They've kind of mastered that with the Marvel movies.
Yeah, they figured out how to do it, and that's something DC has not done, is figure out how to make a good movie, let alone a good ensemble type movie. So while the preview did look hopefully decent, it does look better than some of the other ones. I'm still in that area of, you've burnt me too many times. Until I hear great reviews of it, I'm not going to care for that. So,
yep, agreed.
But I did see the Leak Avengers one. That one, holy crap, it looks cool. Even on the bad phone quality video that I saw of it. But we've spent enough time, honestly, talking about not Blizzard stuff, even though I could go on and on and on about my current obsession, which is Ready Player One, which I'm re-listening to the audiobook again. Not right in a second, but as soon as we're done here, it's going back on. But let's go back.
You guys should watch Critical Role.
I've seen a little bit of it. It's good.
So good.
It's good, but it's not in my area of obsession at the moment, so...
All right, you ready to get this thing going then?
Yeah, like I said, we've been on our own.
Well, let's start off with some news.
This is the Blizzard news you can use.
So, Draven, apparently they released a lot of information about the Overwatch League this week. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, short version is players are going to make $50K a year at a base minimum. They obviously can pay them more than that. Half of the winnings the org keeps, and half go to the players. If the orgs want to give them more, they're allowed. That kind of thing. They have access to health benefits and insurance and all that fun stuff. Basically, they're being treated like actual athletes and not, as some other games are, like Heroes is only giving them $20K, and we don't have any other information given because they're not even allowed talking about it. But it looks like Overwatch League is actually putting some real money into the actual players too.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And to be that, it's kind of funny because this, I don't know if this is new, but the graphic that we're showing right now is actually from a website that's all about Overwatch League specifically. And it looks like it's very well done. And
just
very
came out this week.
Yeah. So it's pretty impressive so far. They're still in the beginning stages, and it even shows that right on the website. But I think they were supposed to really get going by the end of the year, and they're kind of in the preseason stages still. So they've got a lot of work to do in the meantime, but it's definitely cool to actually see these players being able to actually make a living, and maybe a little better than make a living doing this, which is good to see. For sure.
That's honestly because their housing is included as well. So $50K is pretty good.
Yeah. $50K with housing in most areas of the world is really good. I would say, in California, you still might be, because, housing is the biggest expense, but cost of living in certain areas of California is pretty rough anyway. And I'm sure, there's other areas like, New York, if you had to pay for your own place, you'd be in trouble. But since you don't, for at least during the season, you'd probably be fine. But I don't know. We'll see. But also, because of the fact that they have to split at least 50% of the prize money, that could go up quite a bit, depending upon how big the teams go each year with their tournaments and whatnot. But it's still pretty cool to see, definitely. I want to start seeing some merch, other than just Overwatch League merch. So.
Some of the teams, if you are really interested, I can get with a couple people who would know. Some of the teams have hockey jerseys of their logos and stuff like that. And hats. Yeah. Some of the teams actually do have merch.
Okay.
If you really want, I can contact some people.
Well, that's the thing that seemed to be missing from the website is that they should have had links to some of the teams' websites where that would be. Because right now the website's a little barren, unless I've just missed it, which is very possible. But,
that's literally the announcement. That's all that is.
Yeah. But that wasn't the only thing new for Overwatch this week. We talked a lot about it last week, but this guy, in his now famous pose, is actually live. That's right. I was playing him before the show started. Did you guys have a chance to play him? And we were talking about Doomfist, by the way.
I got to play against him today.
I did not play him. I played Overwatch, but I haven't played him.
So there is in the arcade right now a 6v6 all Doomfist version of the game, which is pretty hysterical. But it really gives you a good chance to kind of learn the character. I played 2 rounds of that. It's best of 5, 6v6, single elimination. And it's a really good way to kind of learn the character against the same character. So that way it's a little bit more even, so to speak. It's fun. It's not super easy, but a couple of his moves are definitely powerful. And then I did play against him for a couple of matches as well right before the show. If you're watching the pre-show, you saw that. He is an excellent counter to Bastion. Because of his charge and punch, he can get to Bastion and one-shot Bastion before Bastion can kill him, which a lot of the other beefier characters in Overwatch can't do that. Even Reinhardt with his shield, usually you can shoot through his shield and mow him down before he can get to you. But not Doomfist. So I was pretty surprised at how good of a counter he was for Bastion. But his moves, they're pretty cool. I gotta admit, they did a really good job with it.
And I found out today that his ult, if you use it outdoors, like their open sky, he can still land inside buildings, and the ceilings do nothing to stop him.
Yeah,
it doesn't destroy this.
That a couple times too. Yeah,
and I died to that more than once. I was like, that shouldn't work like that.
I'm guessing that couldn't work without it working that way. But yeah, it seems like he shouldn't be able to jump through buildings, but he does.
Well, I mean, in the trailer, he jumped through a building. Think about it.
Yeah, but he also destroyed the building.
Eh.
He's not destroying the building this way. But, so...
There's a secret Symmetra just rebuilding it.
Okay. No. So next up, hopefully you guys will get a chance to actually play some Doomfist this week. And let us know
Before
what
you
think.
go on, it's not in the notes because we just found it today.
Yep.
Lucio Ball is coming back. We don't know when. Probably for the summer games, Tuesday. But they did datum on Lucio Ball coming back. So Rocket League, Overwatch.
I just had a brain fart. You said Lucio Ball, and I heard Lucille Ball. So
Ricky!
yeah,
Ricky!
I'm old anyway.
And
I love
Scarlet.
that show. It's an awesome show, okay?
Scarlet, you mentioned in your what you've done this week that Hero League or competitive or whatever you want to call it in Overwatch has not been fun.
Exactly.
Guess what's coming soon?
A new type of reporting system.
And even stronger, you've been naughty, get out.
Exactly. So if with the new system, when someone gets reported and it gets actioned, you get a notice about it. So if you
I like
report
that.
someone, I like that too. It's good to know because it doesn't always happen. So yeah.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
I don't know. I haven't played
not-
competitive in like 2 seasons or something. So
It's not just the. I mean, to me, it's not the reporting system that I'm annoyed with so much right now. It's basically the fact that people are just stupid. Like nobody attacks the point, or like today I was the only tank with one person on a healer, and then we had a Widow and a Hanzo, and the Hanzo gets on voice chat and goes, "We need another tank and another healer." And I'm like, "Well, then switch." And they're like, "No, I don't do that." Like, so I ended up going Bastion, and we actually won. So that we had no tank, a Mercy who wasn't particularly good, and then a Bastion, and it was really horrible. It was just bad. So that's why I get frustrated with competitive.
I think you should consider playing more quick play. I like things like that normally would bother me like crazy in competitive, but they don't bother me at all in quick play because I don't really care if we win. Yeah, sure, I want to win, but I'm not going to get like cranky if we don't win, you know? Like normally in competitive, everybody's like, go, 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 we got to win. In quick play, it's just fun.
I do play a lot of quick play. I literally want, because I like wanting to win. Like I want to get higher ranks. I do. So, you know, that.
Yeah. Well, so you may have noticed that Draven had to get a phone call. Apparently Howland reported him, and he already had Blizzard calling him to see what was going on. If you're watching the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. Hopefully everything's
I'm still
okay.
here.
Yeah.
I'm still here. I just, from what that phone call was, I'm going to be getting another one here shortly. I may have to bolt.
Okay. Let's see what's going on here next. This is going to be kind of funny because apparently I failed a little. But there's some news for Hearthstone. Scarlet, what's the Hearthstone news?
Jaina's Arthas version 2.
Jaina's a Dreadlord. What?
No, Jaina's not a Dreadlord. I just accidentally closed the Skype call. Am I still here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still here.
you're still
Okay. Basically, well, are we talking about the one that's on the screen, or are we talking about all the news?
So
The one
that's
that's on
where
the
the
screen.
that's where the fail kind of came from.
Oh.
So I made this graphic which has Arthas the Death Knight and all the cool Arthas the Death Knight Hearthstone things that are out there on the internet that were apparently somewhat created by fans of the game. But there's actually news about Arthas this week, right?
There is.
And what's that news?
Basically, Arthas. Oh, I think don't we get, I'm pretty sure we get an actual Arthas before he was the Lich King card in the hero set. But sorry, I was thinking more, there was a card reveal stream today with Day 9 and...
No, that explains why your brain is mush.
Somebody from the Blizzard game design team, and I don't remember his name. It was not Ben Brode, it was the other guy who's
It was Matt something.
Matt,
right.
Yes, and not Matt Smith, sad to say.
No.
But they didn't reveal any Lich King stuff, so I don't know.
No, instead...
Okay, so hold up.
Draven.
What it is, if you beat the Ice Crown challenge, whatever those quests are, when you first get it, with every class, you get an alternate paladin hero, which is young Arthas, before he...
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
So he's coming to the game, but not as a Death Knight.
No.
So there was my fail. Anyway, and it actually was a fail. I didn't plan that. Heroes news.
Or did you?
No, I totally didn't. Apparently, if you cheer on Twitch, you get loot in Heroes. What's this, Draven?
This is weird. So, if you are an affiliate or a partner or whatever, you can receive subs and cheers and stuff. Cheers you get from bits. 1 bit is 1 penny, literally. They take it out of the front end. It's like $1.40 or something to buy 100.
Gotcha. And then when
and basically you use that, you cheer, which is you're sending whatever, you get a custom stuff, all that fun stuff, and you gain points, and those points go towards getting stuff in Heroes.
Okay. So yeah, this is another tie-in that they're doing with Twitch, which they've had a couple of tie-ins like this already. So this is another one along these lines. And here again, Heroes is doing an outstanding job of merchandising the game and trying to get more people to play and spreading the information about the game. So totally good job on their part, for sure, on that. Scarlett, do you have anything you want to add on that?
I do, but not completely Heroes related. It's more Twitch related. I think Twitch is getting to be the aggressor, because like if you notice, if most of us use add-ons for World of Warcraft, it recently updated, and I was reading, I don't know why, but I was reading the patch notes for it, and basically it's mandatory now to log in with your Twitch instead of your Curse information.
Yeah, they've merged the two.
Yeah, they merged it a while back, but it was optional, but now it's mandatory.
Yeah.
Which means, with all the other Twitch integration stuff, they're getting very, very aggressive, but they're owned by Amazon, right?
Yes, Twitch is owned by Amazon.
And I was reading today, this is slightly off topic, but I was reading today that Amazon is pretty much the first company. First of all, the owner of Amazon surpassed Bill Gates today in wealth. Maybe not today, but like recently surpassed him in wealth. And Amazon is trending to be the company that reaches 1 trillion in assets first. So it's kind of understandable that Twitch is being aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, they had to transition from Curse anyway because they changed the name on it. The weird part is it's two things called Twitch that are kind of different, but they're trying to become the same thing, and they've got like 3 different apps or something and a website and all kinds of other stuff going on. So the one sign-in I can definitely understand, but I mean, all of this is for the HGC, and the Western Clash is actually in a little over 6 days, which is when you can actually cheer on these teams and actually get some loot for the HGC. So look for more of that. I do agree with you, though. Twitch, because of the fact that it's part of Amazon, we probably will see more and more stuff from Twitch, but it's also because it's growing. I mean, it's turning into basically a television channel online with 1,000 different channels at any point in time, which anybody who's a gamer at this point, it's your source of entertainment if you need it online. So they're becoming much bigger than probably anybody thought they would be at the beginning. So I totally agree with you on the aggressiveness part. I don't know for sure if it's Amazon pushing them or if it's actually Twitch pushing at this point, though. But either way, they should be. So it's kind of nice to see them actually incorporating games. And I don't know if you noticed, but they've changed the way that it works in their actual web format as well. Like now they send you little notifications in the top and says such and such streamer who you follow has this really popular clip, or whatever is free if you're a Prime member this week or whatever. And all of that stuff has been over the past 6 months or so that they've started adding that stuff in. So they're definitely
Is there a way to disable that?
I guess, but why would you want to disable free stuff?
Well, I don't have Prime.
Okay.
But it's more the clips. I get the clip notifications on YouTube because I follow them all on YouTube.
That's a good question. I bet you there is, but I don't have the answer.
Fair enough.
If there's a way to turn it off, I haven't found it.
Yeah.
I also do not have Prime.
I have Prime, but we use it because we're constantly having stuff shipped to the house, so it's totally worth it for me.
That makes sense.
There's another big thing which is new for HOTS as well, and coming up here, it's our old pal Gary's back. That's right, Gary's back, but this time in HOTS, in their in development video that came out. So there's a few other things that are in there as well. I'm looking at Draven's face, and he's just like, no. Apparently, there's other stuff that's much cooler besides Gary for this. So I'll let Draven talk about it.
Well, in all honesty, he looks like he's going to be interesting. He also, from what I've seen, looks like he's going to get nerfed very quickly. But the preview thing that I linked that you took that screen from, there's tons of new skins and stuff like that. There's like StarCraft Marine looking ETC, the big cow guy. There's a Protoss looking Li Ming, who is the wizard chick. There's Anubarak, the boss from TOC. They Zergified him. But he looks like a different kind of bug now. And people are calling it nightmare-inducing fuel. But there's all kinds of new cool skins.
Isn't that what all bugs are?
This one looks more so. The alternate skin they gave Garrosh is Mad Max inspired, which I thought was cool. There's a new mount and there's new sprays like always and all that fun stuff. To me, all the other stuff is cooler than Garrosh is. Because I'm sick of Garrosh.
But he's scary.
No, he's not.
Everybody loves Scary.
No, I was joking when he got revealed. People were like, "Well, what kind of what class is he going to be?" I was like, "They're making a new class, kind of like Varian got the only multi-class. They're making Garrosh the first lightning rod class, which means when Thrall casts any lightning spell, Garrosh automatically gets hit by it, no matter where he is on the map."
I think we touched on this a little bit in one of our shows recently.
I think last week, wasn't it?
Probably, but I still like that joke.
So,
yeah, check out that video. It's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, those in development videos are always pretty neat. And again, here, once again, HOTS is doing really cool stuff to try to get us to all play the game.
I still play.
No. So, do we have anything else non-WoW related that you guys want to talk about this week? I actually played some Hearthstone this week since I didn't have a computer for 4 days.
Oh, how did that go?
Pretty good. There was like this thing where I had to play PvE and beat 3 people in order to get packs. So
that's like a tutorial as a welcome back if you haven't played for forever.
So I won those 3 games and got my free packs and didn't really get anything that looked any good out of the 3 packs. And that was it.
You shouldn't have opened them.
Why would you not want to open your packs?
Not till mid-August. Because that's when the non-duplicate rule comes into effect.
I don't even know if I got any duplicates, to be honest. I didn't really.
So,
Yeah.
Scarlett, you should know Theory has about 87 cards total out of the
Yeah.
out of the 500 plus.
Yes.
And do you really think he's going to log in now that he's got a working computer before August? So
Well, plus they were the new cards, which is the first packs I've gotten from the new cards. So I really don't think any of them were duplicates. But anyway, let's jump into some WoWs. That sound good? Hey, look, it's Gary.
World of Warcraft.
So,
A needle pulling thread.
Exorsus kills Mythic KJ to become world second. And shortly thereafter, there was nerfs. That's right, Fallen Avatar's health was reduced by 5% in Mythic difficulty, and several things were changed for KJ as well. And because of that, whenever there's nerfs, there's drama. Yes. These tweets followed Exorsus. Hotfix changes showing complete disrespect to all the efforts of top guilds. Free testers done their job, wasting months, they forgot the S, of their life. They forgot the S again. TOS overall showed that encounter design team completely have no idea what's the tuning plan for encounters. Well played at Warcraft devs. A little salt, a little bit of salt from world number 2. I don't know if I agree. What's your feeling on this? Draven, you're first.
I think the person who did this, which is not the guild leader, he later came back and did some other tweets, but and corrected some of those information fact things, made him actually right. I think the person who did this needs to, what's the phrase? Needs to take the boot out of their rear end and, or the stick in this case. But you beat it before it got nerfed again. Method also had to wait for the first nerf to beat it. They got there before you. They beat it before you. Everyone else, when they beat it after this second nerf. There's 2 teams that can actually say I beat it before the big nerf, because it got nerfed a little bit and Method beat it, and then Exorsus beat it, and then it got nerfed hard for everybody else.
And now
it's been a while.
AFKR has also beaten it. There are 3.
Yeah, there's 3. So I don't care. He's butthurt that he had to beat it at a harder difficulty than everyone else. Guess what happens every raid patch? World first people have to beat it when it's harder than it is when anyone else beats it. I will not see Mythic kill Jaden on the same difficulty that they did. It will be nerfed at least twice, probably 3 times, because it'll be next expansion when I see it. Probably. So I don't care. You signed up for World First Race. This is what happens.
I agree to a point with what you're saying. I understand the frustration of, okay, it took us this long to beat it. Now they're going to nerf it. People are going to be able to get it much, much faster. They're not going to have to go through what we went through to beat it. I understand that whining. However, you're right. If you're a World First team, you're expected to do it as hard as it possibly can be. And eventually, they're going to change it so that people who can't play as well as you also get the opportunity to down it. I think it might be a little bit quick to nerf. But from what Method said, they were changing stuff left and right while they were progressing on it. before they got the first kill. It just wasn't actually put out there in a hotfix or in a tweet or in a blue post for people to be able to see. So honestly, I don't really know what to say, because to be perfectly honest, it seems like, at least with KJ, they were constantly changing stuff the entire time because they did not have it tuned correctly. But to be perfectly honest, if they'd have tuned it really easily and the thing would only lasted a week, we'd all be bitching about that. So I'd much rather they err on the side of, no, you can't beat this, than it's way too easy.
Yeah, out of all the people who have a right to complain about it, Exorcist is not among them. Method is the one group that should be allowed to complain about it. Because, as you just said, they were changing the fight between each poll. Sometimes it would be 2 or 3 polls. Yeah. But, yeah, if they're going to overtune it, then I'd rather it be overtuned than undertuned.
I mean,
but
the way that the raid, Alessandro made a good point. It was undertuned. Half the raid was undertuned. Last fight was way overtuned. Shouldn't be the case. You're right. However, the way that the grades are supposed to progress is you start off easy and then you get harder to the point where at the end of the raid it's very, very hard. And it's like that on each difficulty, so that way normal KJ is harder than the first couple of bosses on heroic. Mythic, Goroth is easier-ish than heroic KJ. That's kind of the way that it's supposed to be, or at least close.
Unless you have a paladin tank.
Yes, paladin tank suck. Throw them in the garbage reroll. So yeah, I feel like that's somewhat normal for part of it to be considered undertuned. And if you look at the wipe counters that most of these teams have had, it's pretty evident that the beginning was very undertuned in comparison with the end. I mean, 3 wipes in the beginning to 800 wipes at the end is a pretty big difference. But again, if it was too easy and they would have killed it all in 1 week, we'd all be complaining that it was too easy. So I would much rather them have to actually work a little bit to get it. If the thing lasts less than 2 weeks, then I don't think that it was tuned right. I'm sorry, they shouldn't be able to amass the amount of gear to be able to cakewalk it in less than a week. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's honestly what Howland just said. Basically, they tune it to expect these teams to have what they go ahead and try to do for themselves, which is have BIS gear, Titan Forged, everything. Which one of the points that the I can't think of the words. The raid leader of Exorcist in his Reddit post basically said is Titan forging should just go, like just go away. You shouldn't have people having to farm that one trinket hoping to make sure it procs. You should, like, things that are previous raid tier should not be better because it got a lucky upgrade and things like that. So, I honestly, I hate Titan forging. Like, I just want it to go back to like how it was, where gear was just, this is what you get from this level. It would be so much easier. But anyways, so they probably tuned it to expect their eye levels to be higher than, say, maybe what they were. So it was a little harder. However, also, I also think it's a little bit of boo-hooing that they shouldn't be doing, to use those kind of words. I don't know.
Yeah. Definitely seemed a little bit of a crybaby syndrome going on there.
A little bit.
But in terms of the Titan forging, I'm right there with you. I don't want it to stay in the game because here's how I'm looking at it right now. If it is not Titan forged, I almost don't want it because I might get, get the Titan forged.
That's why I want the Titan forge system to go away.
Now, that being said, when I get a Titan forge item, I'm like, yes, because that's actually what got me. I got my 4-piece this week, finally. And what I should be doing is using my 4-piece and then a 2-piece from the previous raid. But because of the 2 pieces that are my offsets out of the 6, the 2 pieces that weren't, I have really high Titan Forge pieces in comparison to. It's like 50 DPS more to wear those versus wearing the other things that are 35 item levels lower, because that's what the 2-piece does for the previous tier. It's just that much of a big thing. So I don't have the perfect 4-piece, but I have a 4-piece, and I've got Titan Forge. I got my 2 legendaries and all that fun stuff. But because of Titan Forging, I could get away with not having the quote-unquote perfect 4-piece.
I think the problem with Warforging and Titan Forging and tertiary stats and sockets and all of that is that the fact that they overlap. I don't think the idea is a bad one. I think the fact that you can get gear from LFR that's better than the gear you can get from Heroic is the problem. They shouldn't overlap. You shouldn't be able to play LFR and get gear that's better than normal. You shouldn't be able to play normal and get gear that's better than Heroic. You shouldn't be able to play Heroic and get gear that's better than Mythic. No matter Warforged, Titan Forge, whatever, it should be able to boost, but it shouldn't be able to boost higher than the next level. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think the Mythic gear should Titan Forge or Warforge at all. Maybe tertiary stat / socket, but if you are playing at a Mythic level, a lot of these bosses you only hit. Yeah, and Hallen's pretty much agreeing with me without saying the same thing. But if you're playing at a Mythic level, there's some bosses that you may only see a couple of times. Especially if you have a team that goes on a break or a team that doesn't, get world first and farm it for 4 months until the next raid comes out. You shouldn't have to hope that that one piece that you need when it drops is actually Warforged or Titan Forge at the Mythic level. Yeah. I feel like at the Mythic level, it just be Mythic, and that's the best you can get. And you shouldn't be able to get gear that's as good as it anywhere else, except for in maybe a PvP scenario, and in that gear should be strictly for PvP. So that's a whole nother can of worms. But if they made each tier a 10 item level split, and Warforged was +5 and Titan Forge was +10. So that way, if you got a Titan Forged in Heroic that was the same as a Mythic piece, for example, or maybe 2 item levels lower than a Mythic piece, so there was actually a difference, that would be fine. But being able to get a 940 piece from LFR or a 950 piece from LFR, that's just stupid.
That is, yeah.
I agree there's some people who would, woohoo, I only LFR, but look, I got a 950 piece. I'm sure that's an exciting moment for them, but it just makes a lot of gearing irrelevant. And that's the part that doesn't make sense. And the weird part about Titan Forge is Titan Forge can be 10 item levels, it can mean 50 item levels, it can mean anything. That's the part that's wrong. They need to squish the Titan Forge down, and then that would take care of everything else.
Yeah.
But we pretty much beat that to death. Today,
repeatedly.
Today there was some PTR testing, and tomorrow, which includes some raid testing. Gorathi, Worldbreaker, Fellhounds of Sargeras, War Council are all being tested. And they did have a few questions and answers for people who are looking to test. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you should have already done some of it today, but you can do some of it tomorrow. But yeah, that's going to be pretty fun. And honestly, I do not do these. Sometimes I'll watch streams of them briefly, but I kind of like the idea of learning the fight right before I'm going to do it and not giving myself a bunch of spoilers. Are you guys interested in this at all?
Well, for the record, those of you listening live, was today, tomorrow, and Sunday, and it's over this weekend. If you're not listening live, you've already missed it, so sucks to be you. Sorry. But to answer your question, I very, very rarely will go onto the PTR to test a boss, simply because I don't know the quality of people I'm going to get. Because while it is possible I'll get those world first people, they generally run in their own groups. And then it's just whoever else decides to go, which could be someone at my level, could be someone better than me, but it could also be one of the raid teams that I left a long time ago because they were bad. like I've always rated on a paladin, but there was a tank in Kata where vengeance was still a thing. I would have to literally bubble myself on a fight because I pulled aggro, and then I would have to wait, and this is after I waited 5 seconds on the pull because they just weren't generating aggro to keep aggro off of me.
3 Sunders.
It was a bear
I'm
tank,
sorry,
and
I'm
I
a
still-
bad tank.
It wasn't you, Scarlet. It was in Kata anyway. It was in Dragon Soul, yeah. But there was this one tank that, and it was Morchok or whatever the first boss was. I literally had a macro with a countdown of when I was going to start DPS based on when they started the fight. And then I would end up pulling aggro. No, I did not have Righteous Vengeance on, or what Righteous Fury, I guess, as my Ret Paladin, which was okay. And then I would have to bubble after I pulled aggro the first time, and then I would have to wait again.
Speaking of bubbling, this week we had another episode of Draven Breaks the Fight happen when we were wiping
I don't know what's happening.
Heroic Mistress, and Draven's the last one alive and bubbled himself and can't die. And the boss was actually taking damage, which no one could really understand. And then somehow he got ported out.
So I have,
Really?
okay, so back in Nighthold, Elisand, that I got time trapped and I couldn't do anything, and then because of the talents I picked and stuff, I auto bubbles me instead of killing me most of the time. Well, that happened when I was still time trapped, which means I was immune to everything, and the bubble would not go away because the countdown wasn't going. And then it literally took the boss to enrage to actually go through the bubble, because apparently it goes through the bubble. This week, completely other boss, different boss. We're in
Different
there
raid,
fight-
right?
Yeah,
Sorry?
different raid.
Different raid.
Different raid and everything. We're in there fighting, and then my bubble goes off because I took what would have been fatal damage. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I go, and then all of a sudden I get a load screen. And I was still fighting. I didn't my Hearthstone is not set on a keybind anywhere. I have to manually either open my bag and click it, or off to the right on the little bars on the right, because I do keep bars over there. Click it over there. I wasn't anywhere near that. I get a load screen, and I was fighting up until that point. And in Discord, where we're using the chat during raid, they're like, what's going on? Why are you bubbled? Why are you just like that? And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know.
So meanwhile, he's standing there with 1,000 eels and Mistress, whatever her fancy name is, beating on him. And she's actually taking damage somehow. And he's just in his little bubble, sitting there, not really doing anything in his bubble. And it was kind of weird because we weren't even close to killing it. We were at like probably 30% or 40%.
Yeah.
And it was just hysterical seeing.
And then when I
again.
finally get through the load screen, I'm in Dalaran with my actual Hearthstone, which is set to Suramar on cooldown.
Yeah, you got ported out is what that was. That bug, they have put some kind of a Band-Aid on to port people out when that happens.
Yeah,
Either
I have no idea, but it was
Howland
interesting.
pulled a switch somewhere and sent you to $1 in.
My first response was, at least it wasn't Moonglade.
Yeah, it would have been better. Well, see, if it was Howland, it would have been Moonglade. You would have gotten sent to Moonglade, I'm sure, if it was up to him. Oh, man. So, speaking of salty people and a little bit of drama, apparently they're fixing something. Yes, that's right. In 7.3, they're going to fix the world boss rotation, so they can all take their turns like a boss. So if you happen to be one of those classes who really needs that drop from Wither Gym, or you happen to be one of those classes who's trying to get your hidden artifact appearance still, there'll actually be a rotation. You won't just get lucky or unlucky. Why did it take so long for this to happen?
I don't know. But
That's what I want to know.
in all honesty, at this point, I think that 2 or 3 of them should be up, but you can only kill 1. Like for loot.
That's a great idea. Hey, Howland, write that one down.
Like it doesn't have to be Wither Jim up every week because everyone wants him up for that freaking trinket.
No.
Even the people who outgear it.
Or, I mean, what they could say is that all 3 are up, you can kill all 3, but you only get an actual, like, box, loot chest from one, and you only get, like,
Yeah.
AP or something from the other 2. I mean,
Yeah,
make
you
it,
can
make
get
it
AP
worth
from all
killing
of
the
it,
other
but-
2, but I'm with you. Have 3 of them up, because we get that extra boss on Broken Isles when the, I don't know what the name of the building is, when that one
Mana
building's
Center?
up. Yeah,
Another disruptor.
Another
yeah.
disruptor.
When the,
But that's
you know,
only when that particular buff is active. It's not a constant thing.
Yeah.
There's been a couple times where it's been active and bosses hasn't been there.
Yeah, I did that earlier. He never drops anything for me.
Uh,
But-
I,
Oh, are they
I,
back up?
Yeah, it went
yeah,
up today.
it's,
this afternoon.
it's Brutalis right now.
And the
I
buff
should get
this
it.
week is getting extra nether shards. So it's
Which isn't bad
no, but
because you can use those to try to get your. I don't think you can get tier gear, but you can try to get trinkets. And
so you can't get tier gear, but you can get current raid drops from TOS. They just supposedly don't 950, although I think that's baloney. And you can get legendaries, but supposedly you can't get the new rings from them, which is also I
Yeah.
don't understand how they would control that. But yeah, so I mean it's definitely something that's worth doing, but maybe not worth grinding.
I wouldn't grind it. But to answer the ring thing, they just didn't add it to the loot table, to what those things can drop.
I get it, but like it's I don't know. It just seems weird.
Yeah, it does seem a little weird, but they're like whatever. But the fact that you can get a maxed out Arcano crystal off of these things and not have to worry about withered gem. They need to nerf that because people are still saying it's better than a lot of things that you can get. Like I finally just got my quote unquote best in slot trinket, which is off of the first boss. But in order for it to actually be best in slot, other people need to have it too.
Oh yeah, that's the one that interacts with everybody else, right?
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
more people that have it, the better. And then everyone, just their DPS just skyrockets.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's like that tells me that it's got a low drop rate. And
Yeah, because otherwise they'd have to nerf it.
Otherwise, it would be like the legendary Archimonde ring.
Yeah. Don't pop your rings. Only such and such is allowed to pop his ring. Damn it. Remember that? I remember that.
Well,
Oops,
yeah,
I
we-
hit it.
so-
I'm sorry. My bad.
so many range people
Who
will
popped
pop
the ring?
Dang it, mage. Mages and hunters, take your ring off. You're not allowed using it anymore.
Oh man, good times. Not really. So-
It's a good idea, but I don't think that it's like a mini bloodlust. I don't think that they should give multiple people who aren't used to having it that type of situation. Or make it so that only the melee can pop it or something, where it's going to be whoever uses it, it's going to explode on you.
So you guys remember pre-show last week what I was doing?
Was that the mage tower?
Yes, I was trying to get my flail, and it was going to be up for the entire next day and a half, and I wasn't doing very well. So my plan was to be ready and hit it hard the next day, but because of the computer issues, I did not. So I have not done it again, and now I pretty much.
So
ripped
would
my
you say
palette
that
off.
was? Would you say that was a epic flail?
It was an epic flail minus the L. Oh man.
A vampire trinket that heal. What? That is so strange, Howland.
Yeah, that is weird.
I heard about it, but I haven't looked into it because it, PTR.
Yeah, that is strange. I don't know about.
And I
They
will
keep trying
agree
to
with
bring
you.
that vampire thing back.
Well, it's not even the vampire thing. It's just the trinkets this expansion are so weird. You have the Arcano crystal, which has, it's literal, just a
All
stat
the
stick,
stats, yeah.
but it's got all of them. It's got all the secondaries. And that's it. But because it has so many of them and all of them, it's like, oh my god, it's amazing. If you have this, you're a god. And then you have things like the Infernal Cinder thingy-majiggy that I was just telling you about. It's like that ring. The more people who have it, the better they are.
Yeah.
So that's the raid, that kind of thing. And it's just, I love that they're experimenting, so please don't stop. But you might want to think these things through first.
Well, the weird thing that I'm running into is on the tanks is it's like there's two lists. There's the list of the trinkets you should use if you don't want to die, and the list of the trinkets you should use if you want to just do better DPS, which I think is just, it's funny. Like,
Yeah.
so you've got
So
tanks
you-
deciding whether or not
you
they want to make the healer sweat or not by which trinket they use.
So
Which I guess it's
basically, you
always been
start.
that way, but
You
they're
need
telling
you
us
need
that now.
basically what you're saying is you need 4 trinkets. You need the I don't want to die. Then you
Yes.
have the okay, I'm pretty cool, so let's up my DPS a little bit. And then you have the I'm just gonna use both DPS trinkets because I'm not gonna die.
Well, it kind of
Yeah.
brings up the question: is it better to use 2 I'm not going to die trinkets, or 2 DPS trinkets, or 1 each?
I think the answer to that is going to be 100% situational.
Right.
It's going to depend on you and your healers.
Can I just say I'm a little tired of the situational at this point?
Agreed.
We have talents that we change on multiple fights, which I totally don't like doing that, by the way. We have playstyles and rotations that change depending upon those talents that we changed for the fights. We switch our freaking food and flask depending upon the fight sometimes, because certain ones you need a little bit more life and certain ones you need a little bit more damage. And now this, we're gonna swap trinkets. Like, next thing you know, we'll have different weapons that we have to put on in different parts of the fight because, you know, you need to stab him in one part of the fight and cut off his head in the other part of the fight or something like that. And
So funny you
it's
mentioned
too
that.
much. It's too much.
Back when LFR first got introduced, and I've told this story before. Dragon Soul was the first LFR. I literally would go through, and because I was me, I would take in my real weapon. I would take in Thunder Fury. I would take in the level 60 Sulfurous. I would take in Shadowmourne and all these other like old legendaries, and I would just randomly switch them in the middle of LFR fights. Why? Because I could. It was funny, and people were like, why are there tornadoes everywhere?" And then the people who knew were like, "Who's using Thunder Fury?" Because tornadoes were everywhere.
So we had a guy,
That's-
we were doing OS 3 Drakes way back when, and we had this hunter come in who was supposed to be this like real badass on the server and everything, and I look and he's using a weapon from BC. It was a legendary weapon from BC, but it was that bow that drops from Sunwell or whatever, and we're looking
Is
at
that
it. and
Thunder
it's-
Fury, isn't it?
No, Thunder Fury is a sword, but
It's like Thorindal or something
like
Oh,
that. But it's the
right,
gold
right,
one that like has wings on it,
Yeah.
and it's really
Back
cool
when
looking.
hunters needed ammo,
Right. And I think this one, if I remember right, it didn't need ammo or something like that.
it
It,
did
had
not.
something weird.
It was
yeah.
the one that it said no, does not use ammo or something
Doesn't
like
use
that.
ammo. Yeah, so like he came in and I'm looking at his weapon like, man, that's a really cool weapon. So I go in and inspect him. I'm like, dude, why are you wearing a weapon that's like 100 item levels lower than what you should have? That's really weird. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. So the fight starts and he like destroyed everyone DPS wise, just like 10 times higher than everyone else. And I don't know if he swapped his weapons mid fight or if he just was that good. I don't know. I'm guessing he swapped.
One or the other.
But
Or both.
yeah, your Thunder Fury made me think of that. Or he might have been Beastmaster, but I don't think they worked the same way back then.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have those people that do goofy things, especially in LFRs where most of the time it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now, from what I've heard, in the new wing, even Fallen Avatar is a DPS check for LFR.
Yeah, I
Like,
heard a few people
it's-
complaining about that.
Yeah, you need enough. It's a DPS check, even without the lady, which I think is what makes it the DPS check.
Well, yeah, because you got to get him low enough before he pops the floor. One of our normal listeners, Des, was actually talking about that. She's really good DPS hunter, and she had a couple other people that were similar to her skill-wise and a really good tank in there, and they still had to get 2 stacks of determination before they could kill it. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's a little bit higher, but that's why they have determination, and that's why I don't do LFR.
I very rarely do LFR, but I'm thinking this week, since I did get so many legendaries on some tunes, it sounds like it's about right for some of my tunes to go through and do some stuff to try to get some legendaries. In touch. I don't know.
You got 7.
I-
You're queued
I'm
now.
Just got legendaries, you said.
I just got some, but not on all the characters. Like I've got some characters that don't have any yet, and it's. I'm feeling that it's about time.
Yeah, speaking about time, we're almost done with the show. But before we move on, didn't they say something about us being able to target legendaries? Is that just buying the tokens off of the aisle? Because that's not a very good target.
I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
just.
That's the
flying.
only way to target.
So that means you can't target the new rings because they're not on them.
Exactly.
Well, from what I hear, the new rings are very rarely the ones you want.
I know of at least 2 classes that want them.
There are
But-
some, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, I should say specs. But anyway, you guys have anything else you wanted to touch on this week?
Nothing show
Touch.
related.
Touch
Hi,
on.
kitty.
Touch on. Oh,
Oh, there's 2 kitties.
I see one. I don't see the other one.
There's 2.
Oh, yeah. Your camera's
behind
cutting the
you.
other one off. All right. Well, I guess we will let you guys how to get in contact with us. Contact. Not contacts. Contact with us. So at Epic Fail Podcast, we do love it when you contact us. So here's the ways that you can do that. We are at www.epicfailpodcast.com. On Facebook, you can find us at /podcastepicfail. Twitter is at podcastepicfail. You can follow Draven at Draven Dresden on Twitter. You can follow Scarlett at Scarlett_CTR. And you can follow me, Theory, at Gank Theory, also on Twitter. Don't forget, you can find our podcast on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. We look forward to hearing from you. And we're back. So, Scarlett, did you have any shout-outs that you wanted to do this week?
No. Because I didn't think of any. I
So,
forgot
like,
about that part.
I always try to toss it to you first. You know, trying to be, a gentleman and chivalrous and all those things. I'm just going to start not, because it seems like you don't, like, you
Note
would
to
prefer us to go
self.
first.
Put in show notes. Scarlett, do you have any shout outs? Copy said note into Skype chat.
Yeah.
Send to Scarlett at show start.
All right. So I'm going to go first so that you two can think. I want to give a shout out to the people who I did my work project with after my computer completely tried to kill itself this past weekend. I had specifically 1 co-host and 3 people, one of which I know watches the show, who helped out put on the presentation that I was doing. And I was super stressed out because of the computer thing. And it went really, really well, and it seemed like everyone was happy with it. So, huge shout out to those guys for helping out and helping making it amazing, even though I was stressed out. And yeah, thanks a lot. Who wants to go next? Draven.
I guess so. My first shout out will go to Theory's computer for trying to commit seppuku.
Seppuku? Is that a new one? Seppuku?
Is that how
Seppuku.
it's said? I think that's
I
the
thought it was
Japanese word
Sudoku.
for. No, Sudoku is the
No,
puzzle. Seppuku,
He's
if I'm
talking
saying.
about where you die for honor by falling on your own
Ritualistic
sword or something
suicide.
like that.
Okay, so how do you say it again?
I think it's seppuku.
All right.
Seppuku, something like that. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. Other than that, my biggest shout out is gonna go to the people who did Ready Player One because I got really excited for it, and I'm just gonna bookend the entire show with Ready Player One.
Okay, Scarlett, are you ready?
Yes. I'm gonna shout out to the kitties and to the puppy who likes carrots and to all the lovely animals.
I can dig that. All right. So that means we are at that time. Do you know what time I'm talking about, Draven?
It's high noon.
So you're supposed to wait until I say, "Do you have any last words?" And then you say,
You asked me if I knew what time it was. What did you think I was gonna do?
Okay, bye. Hello, mother.
You know, the world could always use more heroes.